And here's the star of our show, Sam Whiteside's 1954 Vincent Black Shadow. It's a bike that gets ridden a lot and is still kept in very nice shape, as you can see. And you'll be seeing a lot more of this motorcycle as the show goes on. Thanks for watching.
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, yes. We've seen your Vincent, and now we're seeing some of the documentation that accompanies it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the history?
Well, what I know about it was that it started its life in New Zealand, in the South Island of New Zealand, and it went through several owners there before being purchased by a U.S. serviceman who was stationed there in the 60s. He then brought it back to the U.S., and he owned it for 30 plus years in the U.S., and then I bought it from him. What we were able to do is my friend Chris Richards, who lives in the South Island of New Zealand, was able to research locally with some of the motorcycle people that he knows, and eventually got in touch with someone that was there when the bike actually arrived in New Zealand.
Yeah.
You know that, do you? You can realize that.
Oh. So when I heard Sam was informed me the bike came from Blenheim, I did some homework and eventually found this chap, Dave Bishel, who was been Mr. Motorbikes in Blenheim since his youth in the 50s. And he remembers it coming into the country himself because his best mate was the brother of the guy Wallace who bought it.
The original purchaser.
Yes,
yeah.
The original purchaser. He himself actually rode it down the street and back in the early days.
Before he was licensed?
Probably.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not sure about that.
No, I know.
This chap has old classic bikes. As we
He still keeps them and maintains them and operates them.
Been involved with
Mr. Motorcycle in your village. Yeah. Very
That's
cool.
through the Classic Motorbike Club that I'm involved with.
Okay.
I discovered this guy.
Outstanding. Well, very good. Thank you.
Now, and he was able to bring me a picture of the motorcycle at the dealership in Blenheim, New Zealand in 1954 when it had arrived, and the dealers were preparing it for their first customer. And then the same local motorcyclist told him about the names of the owners, that the first owner was called Eric Wallace, who bought it from the dealership, and then he sold it to a Morris Turner, also in Blenheim, and then a Clary Olson, and then Clary Olson sold it to Bob Trozo, the American serviceman, who eventually sold it to me. But we have a race program here that shows that it was entered in a race in a place called Hawkesbury in 1955. And at that time, Mr. Wallace was competitor number 31. We don't know how well he did in the races. But he was competitor 31, and there's also a record from the local chap that said the bike was timed at 112 on a flying quarter mile an hour.
Oh, we darned.
And ran in the 5-lap race at Hawkesbury.
And that is a Black Shadow, so.
That's a Black Shadow.
Yeah.
That's probably not as fast as it's supposed to go, but that was probably pretty good for that bike at that time. Some of the things on the table here, it shows a Harbour Engines receipt for parts ordered from Stevenage to Florida, U.S. by Mr. Trozo. An earlier one, Mr. Trozo ordering while he lived in New Zealand. And then Mr. Olson in New Zealand from Conway Motors. And then an order for a big end bearing through Aerocycle, the dealership from Alpha Bearings for Trozo while he was in New Zealand. So these are going back to 61 and 1960 and so on.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a connection there as to who owned it and where it went and how it got to me.
It's a lot more than most of us have on our motorcycles.
Yeah. And Chris is an old motorcycle owner in New Zealand and has been running into these people a little bit more than he used to, and now now he knows who to talk to
Okay.
all this stuff.
And he knows who'd like to know about it.
Exactly.
Very good. Okay. Well, let's put our gear on and take those bikes for a ride.
Okay.
Does that work?
We'll do that.
As the Vincent clatters on, and Sam and Chris attempt to start the VSA, which it turns out had a hidden kill switch that got flipped off. And once they found that kill switch, they managed to flip it back up, and the bike started beautifully from then on. Anyway, I thought I would explain how this process will work. what's going to happen is we'll ride around the northern Nevada area into the hills. One or the other, Chris or Sam, will be riding the Vincent, and the other will rotate on the BSA Golden Flash. I'll be on my Yamaha taking videos. Whoever's riding the Vincent will be carrying a small digital voice recorder in their pocket to capture the sounds of the Vincent and the Vincent exhaust and the motor and all that stuff. That digital sound will be merged back in with the video of the Vincent, and we hope to have a pretty good video